So hi everybody, Craig Hanson. Guys, we are looking at a passive release versus a rotational release. Okay, we're going to get in there and have a look at perhaps which one's better than the other, the reason why it happens, and I think, yeah, looking at the general public here, we can have a look at a passive release being a little easier to repeat and perhaps more powerful. Now, passive release versus a rotational release. A rotational release is when the club is rotating more, so we're going toe up, the toe of the club's up, the toe of the club's up. So it'll be rotating and perhaps rolling more open and rolling more close. Often we'll see that with a weakish style grip, more of a one knuckle grip with the hand and the club up a little bit higher. And a passive release, often we'll be seeing a stronger grip, 3 knuckles, a bit more lever, a bit more lag, and we'll be seeing the face work more to 1 o'clock, that being 12, 1 o'clock, and then through the ball also to 1 o'clock, and that would be not releasing as much. Perhaps some call it an underneath release. Okay. So guys, before we get into the video, let's have a look at some evidence-based material here, some slow motion clips from DeChambeau and Tommy Fleetwood, and we're going to be looking here at the passive release and comparing it to the rotational release or the rolling style of release. Now, Tommy Fleetwood on the left here, we can see that the toe of the club is pointing up at 1 o'clock. Now, he has a 3 knuckle grip, and he speaks about that, strengthening the left hand, and we'll see him as he comes through the golf ball here. Really love this this golf swing, and the face control, have a look at this, through the golf ball, moving right up, and in the same position, the toe of the club's pointing up towards 1 o'clock where it was in the takeaway. Okay, now through the golf ball here, we'll just get rid of that, so not a lot of face rotation, and as we get up into this part of the swing here, we can see where the sweet spot of the club is pointing. Now with DeChambeau, obviously this will change sometimes if they're hitting big draws or fades, but when you're looking at your standard type of shots, you're definitely going to see a huge amount of rotation here from DeChambeau with a much weaker style grip, higher hands, rolling release, a rotational release here, and have a look at that toe of that club. Now, interesting is, and when we get up to this part of the swing here, we can definitely see with that sweet spot of the club, let's take it back a bit, he has really rolled over and is pointing more downwards. Now, as we get further up here, if you imagine if he took off his glove hand, the left hand, that right palm is pointing away from him, and we'll compare it to Fleetwood. If we took off the left hand, the palm would almost be pointing back towards him somewhat. Okay, so now we're going to have a look. There's your differences between the rolling release or the rotational release or the passive release. And now we're going to have a look at some club golfers that I've filmed from all around the world and a couple of professionals in the front view before we get back to the video. So it's comparison time. We're going to be looking at some amateur golfers, club golfers that I've filmed all around the world, and we're going to be comparing it to professional golfers. We're going to be looking at a release with a lot of forearm and hand rotation, very more of a rolling or aggressive release pattern, and then we'll compare it to these two guys, to these two great players, Jordan Spieth on the left and Dustin Johnson on the right. We can see that both of these players actually have a little bit more of an aggressive club face position with the toe almost pointing, well it is, between 1 and 2 o'clock and not just at 1 o'clock. Now, from the front view, when we have this type of strong club head position, how does it actually look? I mean, we know that probably some of you out there know that Jordan Spieth is known for great iron play, but also not a huge release, and he almost gets that look that a lot of the club golfers around the world have, with the left arm much higher than the right arm, and a slight chicken wing effect. And also obviously Dustin Johnson, who does have a bit of a similar style of release in a way that the left hand, we see the glove here, not a huge amount of forearm rotation. It comes a little bit later in the swing. Obviously great extension through the golf ball. But what we're going to do is, when we keep this swing on the left here, we're going to show you, I'm going to show you Ernie Els. Now, a lot of the club golfers around the world, perhaps the advanced players not, but a lot of the club golfers, the mid-range golfers that haven't played junior golf, they're not going to get this style of look, right? They're not going to get this release here. I have, over the years, worked with people, and I have been able to improve their release patterns massively. Now, on World Class Golf Instruction, worldclassgolf.com, we have a fantastic series that's really, really popular. It's called The Move of Millions. The Move of Millions, where we take you through many videos and practice drills and exercises, and show you how to improve these positions and get yourself over time
moving your hands and your wrist alignments more effectively. And it's really a fantastic series. We've had some great feedback, over 600 videos, getting up to 700 videos on this platform at the moment. Now when we have a look here at some club golfers, I'll take you through some players that I've filmed. We can see, remember, Ernie Els' position here. But what we're going to be seeing from the club golfers around the world is that many of them, they swing exactly the same. You know, so if their tendency is to have this more under-style release, this passive release pattern. So for you guys moving into a 3-knuckle grip and closing this club face on the way down, it's going to enable you to bring in some other components into your swing, and you're going to reach your potential, and it's all about that, right? Now we can just see that there's so many people around the world that are swinging exactly the same, and they don't even know they're doing it. And guys, you've got to get your hands on the right information. Let's just go through a few more swings. I think you'll find this fascinating, that pretty much all of them are in the exact same position. Some of the higher level golfers perhaps breaking down even more, and we see the elbows getting quite wide here and the leg work not quite right, but moving, you know, into just about every single swing. I've filmed around 30,000 of them. I'll get you back into the main video in a second, but I just want to, the proof's in the pudding. You know, we've got to work with evidence-based material. We've got to, the public has to know that how they're moving the club, what to work on, and everyone, you know, really wants to get in there and you know, work on things to reach their potential and understand what style's right for you. Get a plan, get a program, get some goals. Guys, let's get back to the main video, and we'll finish it off and, you know, give you guys a better understanding and get you on a great direction to play your best golf.
So, which one's better? When you're looking at the general public, most people are struggling with rolling the club over and releasing it, okay? They mention, or people mention, that a passive release is easier to repeat. You can't really say that, because we've seen some amazing players with the ability of having this rotational release and playing absolutely amazing golf. You know, we're looking at Tom Watson and DeChambeau. You know, when you are looking at taking out this lever and this lag, for a lot of people it's taking out a lot of speed. We know that DeChambeau hits the ball a long way. Strong guy. One of the best junior players of all time, really talented dude. He actually does add a bit of lag coming down that you don't really see. And so I mean, if you're looking to hit the ball further, you know, if you're looking at the long drive champions, they've got a lot of angle. You know, they've got a lever here, and to take that lever out, for a lot of people out there, you're going to lose a bit of speed. I like to see people move into a 3-knuckle grip, and the modern day grip, as it gets a lot of play and loading in that joint. And you know, after filming 20,000 swings or more around the world with a high-speed camera, you definitely get to see what, you know, the general public are doing, and they're not really over rotating a lot. Okay, so when we see that type of under release, it's a good idea for you guys to get a 3-knuckle grip and get that face down to 1 o'clock and get that face up here to 1 o'clock, and it just works off that hinge. Okay, and it's a great way to sort of practice just working off that joint. It is a little easier to repeat than perhaps for most of the people than a rolling style of release. Now, a couple of the feels that you can use for a passive style release is that the sole of the club, or the face of the club, points down, that the right hand points down and the right hand points up a little bit. Okay, that is a feeling of the logo pointing down and the logo pointing up, and you can get a feeling definitely through the ball, like a lot of people do. We see Adam Scott do it very nicely with the right hand almost pointing back at him, and pointing the right hand away from you and pointing the right hand back at you. Great feeling to for some of your short iron shots as well, controlling this face and not letting it rotate too much. So we move the grip in, looking at a passive release, keeping the right hand down, keeping the right hand away, and then the right hand's going to point a little bit at us. And it does and it will keep your shoulder plane down and away from your face, and keep your head very still. Has a good effect on the rest of the swing. And that is a much better way for most people out there to play golf, getting the right hand to point down, adding this extra lever in, right hand down, right hand under and back at us, and that will give you a more passive release, more power, and for most people out there, more consistency.